get it. What's up? What's up? Are we live? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing, YouTube? What's up, Instagram? Hope everybody had a fantastic day. Trying to answer you all's questions. Let's hop right into it. What's up? What's up? Today is the 15th of September. It's a beautiful Wednesday out here in Los Angeles, and I'm doing good today. Just came out of a team meeting, and I was looking over Instagram, and I got you all's questions out here. So we're gonna go ahead and answer a couple of them. So I do want to say I'm thankful for your attention. This is a very new, platform. So if y'all are watching live on YouTube, we have about 10,000 subscribers here. So people might come in and out. That's fine. For those who come in, feel free to let me know where you're from. Let me know how your day is going. Throw in some questions. I'll see if I can get to it. But we're gonna answer the questions that we received on the IG live today. So I'm ready to hop right into it. Let's see what we have right here. All right. I said I would have it prepared on my iPad, and then I left the iPad downstairs. How's that for being semi-prepared? All right, so the very, very, very first question, and we have about six questions. So okay, let's get into it. The very first question, someone on Instagram asked this question. May I know? Let me get that off. Take off. Turn off all. Yeah, turn those off. All right. The very first question. May I know where to get a diagnosis for the different mental health problems? All right. So this is a question I get a lot, especially on TikTok and on Instagram. People say, "How do I get a diagnosis?" Right. I post all these videos where I'm promoting awareness for different mental health conditions, and people are like, "How do I get diagnosed?" Right. So the most lenient thing for people to do is to go to your primary care provider. This could be a physician, MDDO, or nurse practitioner, NPDNP, or a PA, physician assistant or associate. And they're the ones who can point you towards the right direction. And if you need additional care, they can send you to a psychiatric specialist, right? Like a psychiatrist or anybody within the family of psychiatry. So that's the most linear way to get diagnosis. That's a really good question, and I've talked about this many different times on my on my TikTok lives. But the TikTok lives, we don't post them, we don't repurpose that content anywhere else. So I see why people are asking that question again. Another person said, since you're coming out of retirement, are you taking psych NP students to precept? So I'm not currently doing this. I did do this back in Virginia when I was working full time. I love teaching. I love teaching students. And when I was in school, I learned from so many fantastic psychiatrists and psychiatric nurse practitioners who really sat me down and said, this is how we do X, Y, and Z. This is how we go about our business. And obviously that's paid off. We built this big brand. And I educate online, right? We educate people online. So that's helpful to a lot of people. But in terms of precepting students, I'm not set up to do that right now. We have a lot of moving parts. And hopefully I would like to get back to that eventually. So hopefully I can do that for y'all eventually. And all right, I got another question. Somebody says, they have bipolar 2 and my husband has ADHD. How could both of our diagnoses interact in our relationship? All right, so once again, all I know is that one person in the relationship has bipolar 2 and the other has ADHD, right? So now I don't know this person, right? So I don't know how bipolar 2 looks like for them or how ADHD looks like for their partner, right? But a couple of things. We know that in both, bipolar disorders and ADHD, sometimes there's an issue with impulsivity and mood lability, right? So sometimes you might have some mood swings in there. So without getting too complicated, you struggle with one thing and your husband struggles with one thing. I think from an empathy standpoint, you could see what he's going through and he might be able to see what you're going through. So just from an empathy standpoint and understanding each other's individuals, I think you all can be able to help each other out. So I think just communication and letting your partner know, okay, today's one of those days where I just don't have it. I'm struggling, X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be. But it can be very helpful to communicate how you're feeling. And everybody's going through something, right? So some people are undiagnosed and they're struggling with something and they don't know what's going on. And some people have a label, a diagnosis, and they know what's up. But everybody's going through something. So just from a kindness and empathy standpoint, I think you could get to, relate better to your partner. It's a good question, by the way. Let me see. Another person says, I tried getting meds for ADHD as a woman of color, but got told it's just mood swings. Any advice? All right, that's a that's a good question. So a woman of color. So we know a couple of things about black women, African American women of color, and medicine. We know that for some strange reason, practitioners, clinicians think that African Americans, black people, and black women can tolerate pain more than their white counterparts, and for that reason and many more, they don't listen. Or we as clinicians, and I'll say all of us, even though I do my best to be mindful of the fact that somebody is a minority and we have to pay attention to them and really listen to them. But a lot of clinicians, do not listen to black women when it comes to pain. We know Serena Williams, one of the most successful black women on the planet. She talked about how she nearly passed away from giving birth to a child. That's ridiculous, right? This happened like last year. So this is 2020 with modern medicine. You would think that a multimillionaire should be able to pay for the world's best healthcare. Can't talk today, but that just shows that as black women, sometimes it's hard to get the proper diagnosis. And I'll get to your question in just a second. That's a really good question. So for black women or for black people in general, honestly, sometimes you have to, ask yourself, are you being, heard with your current healthcare providers? Do you have to get a second opinion? And unfortunately, a lot of times you have to get a second opinion. You want somebody who's gonna, listen to you. Now, they might not, give you a certain diagnosis that you were looking for, right? They still need to do a thorough evaluation and diagnose you appropriately, right? But you need somebody who's gonna listen to you. That's important. I have a question here from Anna. I'll answer this question real quick because Anna is a live, viewer, and then I'll hop right back into, looks like we have 2 more questions out here. So this won't be too long of a show, right? But let me see. Anna says, I have anxiety and I'm starting university on Saturday. Any advice? So obviously, if you have anxiety and it's diagnosed, I always recommend professional help in the form of medications or therapy, or just having health, a team of healthcare providers who are watching you, diagnosing you, and a supportive family. But when it comes to anxiety in school, right, especially in the university, for me, I was very anxious, when I was in school because every single test, in my life, I felt like it was such a big deal. I needed to pass this test so that way I could graduate, get a job, help myself out, help my family. So every single test was this big event for me. And one thing that I did that can help out with anxiety is I treated the first test of the semester like the final, right? So you start, the very first test, everybody's partying, having fun, meeting up with friends. That wasn't me. From the jump, I was I was into it. I treated the first test every semester okay, this is the final. So normally I get an 85 or 90 or 90. I do really well on the first test. And as the semester went on, I wasn't anxious towards the end, because my grades were, I was sitting pretty. I didn't have to do the little calculation that people do where it's okay, I need a 97 to pass this class with an 80, right? I didn't have to do all that. So you can still be anxious even if you have good grades, but I think that if you prepare and you do some of the small things, like planning ahead, asking for help when appropriate, those things can kind of set you up and help out with anxiety, of course, with the help of your healthcare providers and a supportive, group of people around you. Looking here at the viewers on YouTube, we have 6 people watching live on YouTube. That's pretty dope. And then we have 1 like. We got 1 like, so we'll take that 1 like. It's very much unlike the other social media platforms. We have a lot of likes, so we're gonna figure this YouTube thing out. We're gonna have fun with it. Let me see. Somebody says, since following you, I believe I am ADHD. What should I do now to manage it better? All right, so I want to stop right there. And Anna, I appreciate you saying thank you. I see your comment. Thank you for being one of the five the five viewers on the YouTube show. So the person said that they've been following me for a while and they believe that they have ADHD. What should they do to manage better? So I want to put a quick disclaimer out there. If you watch a lot of my videos, right, we've been posting about ADHD for, for 2 years since I've been on TikTok and Instagram, but the last 3 or 4 months we've really ramped it up. So when I post these videos, I'm not posting to diagnose you, right? You have the questionnaires that you can fill out online, and you can look through some of the different, videos that I've posted. But I'm posting to bring awareness to things that you may be doing, which could be ADHD related, right? And then from there, I want you to go to your local healthcare provider, and then seek an evaluation, and then find the once you get a diagnosis, your healthcare provider will help you find the right treatment for you. So that's the answer right there. That's the answer. That's how we should approach things. So I'm not your healthcare provider. Like, I'm not the one diagnosing you. I am starting this practice in Virginia, in Arizona. We roll out next week. We start to see patients next week, Monday, in Arizona. So for those people who sign up, of course, we'll go through a full out psychiatric evaluation, and I'll manage those patients. But in terms of wherever you are in the world, find a healthcare provider in your area. Make sure that you have that condition before you start to manage it. We still need the appropriate diagnosis first, right? All right, and I got one more question, but let me look at some of the feedback here on the YouTube live. Somebody saying fibromyalgia, depression is causing difficulties, empathy is hard to get these days. All right, so here's the thing. And this is what I've noticed, right? We're in the middle of this pandemic. Unfortunately, we're still in this pandemic, and everybody's kind of going through something, right? So everybody is preoccupied with their own struggle. I've seen that. So the person said empathy is hard to get these days. I do believe that they're onto something. Like, it's harder sometimes for people to, empathize. We should still do our best to empathize, but everybody's kind of preoccupied with their own thing, So it's important to step out and look to our left and our right and see, okay, who can I help, or how can my story be a testimony to somebody else, right? So we should always be looking out for other people, but sometimes if you reach out to people and say, hey, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, it might be hard for them to get anything out of them because they're kind of going through their own struggles, right? So it might look like they're being cold, or they don't have empathy, but they're going through their own stuff. So I read, about depression and fibromyalgia, and this is why I'm going to sound like a broken record. I always recommend professional help, getting a good team, right? It's kind of like playing, sports, right? Like, you have a quarterback, you have receivers, you have linemen, you have a kicker, so that's for my people who watch football. But likewise, we're all going through our issues. It's good to have a team of people that support you. This is going to be your doctor, your therapist, friends and family members who support you. And then you build that team, and you have to know when to ask for help. And as you get stronger, as you build your muscles up, you can help out people to the left and to the right of you. So that's what I'll say to that. Good question. Thank you for chiming in. I do appreciate that. I got a question from Mateus. Says, depressed friend says she doesn't want to talk and that she doesn't talk to anyone, but she's online on WhatsApp. Is she using it as an excuse? All right, that's a good question right there. So you're saying that your friend is make you think you have all these notifications going off. I gotta work on that. A friend who's depressed and she doesn't want to talk to anybody, but she's online on WhatsApp, but she uses that excuse. So here's what I have to say to that. I don't want, and I see somebody says things, just talking about it helps. I appreciate you saying that. I'm happy I could give you an answer for the previous question that I answered. But to Matt is saying that their friend is depressed and they don't want to talk to anybody, but you see them online on WhatsApp. So here's the thing, you could have somebody who's depressed and they could be on social media scrolling up and down, laughing at memes or whatever, but that doesn't mean that they aren't depressed, right? So for me, I don't want to play detective, whether it's with my friends or whether it's I'm working at the hospital, or when I was working at the hospital, I don't want to play detective and ask myself, like, damn, is this person really depressed? Are they depressed, or are they faking it? Now there are some people who could fake mental health conditions, right, for some type of secondary gain, or maybe to get attention. Like, that is true, right? That's not out of the question. But for me, I don't want to take it from that standpoint to where I'm like, are they faking it? Are they really depressed? Like they say they're depressed, but are they really? I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to play detective. So sometimes, like, depression has many faces. Sometimes people can be smiling, but they might be going through it, and you never know what somebody's struggling with. So, you know, as you have these friendships, you kind of pick up on your friends' tendencies. You're like, okay, they kind of, this is when they retreat, this is what it looks like. When they're happy, this is what it looks like. So it might be good to just give your friends some space. And look, we'll never know, like, what's going on. Trust me, like, you'll never know. I'll never know what's going on with your friend. Like, what's truly going on. Are they faking it? We don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's one of my favorite phrases. I don't know. You probably don't know if they're faking it or not. But it's best to support them, because assuming they are actually going through it, you want to be that friend that's there for them. You're helping them out. You're not burning yourself out, but you're there whenever they're ready to accept the help, right? Because, we never know what's going on behind closed doors, So maybe WhatsApp is their way of connecting while they're depressed, right? It's just all speculation at this point, right? So that's what I'll say to that. Then I got a question here on TikTok. Oh, no, not TikTok, Instagram. It says, is it common for women to get misdiagnosed with anxiety or depression rather than ADHD? All right, so yesterday's live, we spoke a little bit about how women sometimes receive an ADHD diagnosis later than men because their symptoms are sometimes more so hidden, right? They might be more inattentive. They might struggle with being overwhelmed or being disorganized or zoning out. And it might be hard to catch those symptoms, so they might struggle in silence. And then as an adult, right? Adult ADHD is often misunderstood. So people, and even some clinicians, still think that ADHD is like a kid's thing. Some people expect kids to grow out of it. When from what I've seen from the studies, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Y'all feel free to chime in if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen from the studies, the majority of people who have ADHD, they don't, the symptoms tend to persist into adulthood. And for those who aren't diagnosed, right, you can have high risk of car accidents, STIs, substance use issues, and a lot of times adult ADHD is going to look like anxiety and or depression. So you might be diagnosed with anxiety or depression, and it might not be a misdiagnosis. You might actually be anxious or depressed, but it could be stemming from the undiagnosed ADHD. And there's no way I know, right? There's no way that I know sitting here, on my phone, but once you go get a formal evaluation done, a psych eval, then that will help to, hopefully help to uncover some of the issues, and you can figure out what's going on. So that's a really good question. It's a frequently asked question, but I think it's good that we talk about it because a lot of adults have, I don't want to say a lot, I don't want to get twisted, but there are a lot of individuals who, are suffering with ADHD and they're not diagnosed yet. So those are the ones who I have in mind when I'm making my TikTok videos, and I'm sitting there, with this little, be well and create TikTok thing I got here. This is where I write my little ideas at, and I'm reading out some of the topics that I've gotten from people. Y'all let me know if y'all agree with this, especially for those on my IGTV. Hit me up after the fact and let me know. But people are asking me to make content about social anxiety. I have a social anxiety video dropping today. So I actually got that OCD, parenting with anxiety, health anxiety, rejection sensitivity as it relates to ADHD. That's a good one. Mental health and relationships, borderline personality disorder and relationships. Ooh, those are really good ones. And then the last one that I thought was really good that I wrote down was physical symptoms of anxiety and depression. So y'all give me a lot of really good topics, and I appreciate that because it's going to make the content better, right? And then reading that last comment from Mateus, yeah, she could be just checking group messages or seeing stats. I don't think she's lying. It's hard to understand. Yeah, no, it's good to politely confront people I'm not a big fan of confrontation, but I don't shy away from it. Sometimes you have to have those difficult conversations, and it's especially hard with the people that you love. Let them know, hey, like, I know you're going through it, but I might need a little bit more communication from you. I might need X, Y, and Z, these different things. So I think it is important to reach out and have those hard conversations, right? It's gonna be hard because you love the person. You don't want to offend them, but like you gotta get your point across. Because if not, you're gonna feel like you're not being heard. And then let me answer one more question. Someone says how to comfort someone who doesn't even want to be comforted, right? So a lot of times, I've been asked this question many times before. You want to help somebody, but they don't want to receive the help. You can't physically drag somebody and send them to a therapist's office or send them to a doctor's office. It doesn't work that way. But what you could do, and this is what I recommend, right, is stay there or be available to help them out when they want the help. So let them know, hey, like, all right, I know you're going through it. I'm gonna be out here. I'll be out here in LA chilling, doing my thing. But whenever you need something, like I'm right here for you. I care about you. I love you. I respect you. All that good stuff, right? Exception being if it's an emergency, and somebody's safety is in danger, or other people's safety is in danger. Please contact 911. Get them to like the nearest crisis center, emergency department. But if somebody's kind of going through it and they're distant and they don't want help, just make sure you, like, when they're ready to receive the help, that you're right there. You can just slide on in and help them out. So that's what I would say with that. So those are some really good questions. We got questions from the Instagram community. We got questions from my YouTube community. Elam says thank you. No problem. I appreciate that. I like the interaction, the back and forth. Now we have 8 viewers. This is gonna be funny because we started off with 3, and then we had one like one singular like. Now we have plural. We have 6 likes. So we're gonna build this from the ground up. It's gonna be a really good show. And this is the 2nd episode of the show, but I'm excited to see how it gets better. Right, we're gonna work on everything, even the background. I'm flirting with running this show live from downstairs, the kitchen, like an area that's more aesthetically pleasing. We might have some background music in here. We're gonna make this more of an experience. So we just have to keep doing, and then we're gonna make it better. Kevin says, "Great episode." Kevin, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now we have 9 viewers, so it's pretty cool. And tomorrow's show, we already have a topic. We're just gonna talk about good news. So I'm gonna do an Instagram poll, and we're gonna get you all's good news, and then we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. This is the last show of the week as we prepare for the weekend, right? So tomorrow I want to hear about the good things that have happened for y'all this past week, because sometimes we tend to hyperfixate on all the bad things, but there's some good things happening. And even for me, like, I got some pretty exciting things I'm working on, some of which I can't share, some of which I can share. So tune into tomorrow's episode, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But until then, I appreciate you all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Yeah, hey.